My Time Podcast with Asher Tchoua.
Hey, I mean, you've been working hard. I see you've got the logo there in the back. You got a new look. Got your hair dyed.
So this is my natural hair.
Oh, it
The
is.
last time you saw me, I had the blonde, right?
Okay.
That was it was not a good look. All my
Gotcha.
life I said that I wanted to get to like gray,
Mm-hmm.
and I destroyed my hair.
Mm.
Um and it just wasn't me. So I'm back to like my normal regular black hair, my natural with all my grays showing through. Um so I feel definitely more myself
Nice.
again. And then, so the agency is still going strong. I know that's what we talked about last time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Recently, what I think we're at right at a month now, that I stepped out of my leadership role
Mm-hmm.
with all of the carriers that we represented, Aflac being our main focus. Um, and decided that I really wanted to take that time, and instead of trying to sell people on the dream of being, six-figure income earner in the insurance business,
Mm-hmm.
which isn't a business that's for everybody, I really wanted to spend that time just empowering them to find their purpose and live their passions.
Mm.
So I'm definitely happy. I feel like I have more balance now. That I don't have all of the headaches that I had recruiting and training, the revolving door of people that don't make it in this business because they don't have a why attached to it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the Shut the Butt Up came out, I don't know, years ago. If you
Mm-hmm.
look through my Instagram, it was like several years ago that I like put it out in the public for the first time and said, I'm going to write the book. But I could never find the time to write the book. So the other part of me stepping down and stepping out of those roles was to free up my time to write the book and make a difference and share my story and, just help people live their own purposes.
Nice. I guess I'm curious about about the title. Why is it "Shut the Butt Up"?
Okay, so what is one thing that you struggle with that
Mm.
you wanted to like change in your life or about yourself forever that you just haven't done it yet? Name one thing.
One thing. Um, I guess that it's not a struggle as much now, but something that's like on and off is like self confidence.
All right. So if I tell you, the reasons that you should have self-confidence and you respond with, but,
Right.
but, but, I started an empowered women's group.
Mm-hmm.
And the other night, they're all women business owners. Well, one of the business owners was, complaining or venting her frustrations with her staff. And about five of the other women in the group also own salons. She was a salon owner,
Mm-hmm.
but she's a newer salon owner. She's only had her salon for about 2 years, and I can take credit for empowering her unintentionally to leave her job
Mm-hmm.
to pursue her passion. But she's having these struggles with these employees. And the other 4 or 5 salon owners that have been doing this for decades was trying to offer her solutions.
Mm.
And every solution they offered her, her response was, but this or but that. And I'm like, okay, y'all, you cannot use the but in front of like the shut the butt up person. But that's why, like, it's so easy for people to play victim. And, my family is really like toxic, and, it's, all my siblings
Mm-hmm.
are, will find, something they struggle with, whether it's drugs or alcohol or violence or whatever. And it's like, but it's dad's fault because that's who my dad was. No, you're making a conscious adult decision
Mm-hmm.
to be that person. You know, I was raised in the same household. I've never struggled with a drug addiction. I've never been an alcoholic. I mean, we have a fully stocked bar in our basement that unless company is over, we never even touch. Like, it's just not our thing. You know, my parents struggled, and you know, it was a hard life, and I just wanted a better life for my own kids. So it's easy for people to blame and stay complacent or stagnant, or you know, live this lesser than their potential lives because they can blame it on somebody else, or they can make excuses. Well, that, I mean, saying the word but, anything that falls behind the word but is just an excuse. It's like your own choice, your own self-limiting belief. So it's really time for people to shut the butt up, like stop making excuses and shut the butt up. And people ask all the time, like, what does that mean? Like, where did it come from? Like, I don't even get it. And, you know, hopefully one day it'll be like Nike and Just Do It and everybody will get it. But I don't think that people recognize how much they respond with but. I mean, just, you know, whatever solution is presented to them, they follow it up with a but because they don't want to do it.
That makes sense. The it's funny too because I guess there could be another word synonymous with but, the way it's highlighted in red.
But so when we were like redesigning for the book cover and the merchandise, it was really, you know, we played with it looking a lot of different ways, capitalizing the word but, underlining the word but. That looked the cleanest, and it still highlights the word but. But soon enough, it will, I promise you, it will be trending.
Yeah,
And
I mean, I
everybody will
like
be
it.
saying,
I like it because initially when I didn't see but, I just filled in the blank and I was like, oh, it's telling me to, which essentially it could be saying, hey, shut the F up. But it's like, hey, shut the butt up, because it's like, but is an argument for your limitations, and your limitations aren't really going to help you right now.
I mean, I believe that I could use every excuse for everything. Like I could be the same as, you know, the generations above and around me. But I just refuse. You know, I refuse to make even being on video. I hate being on video. I don't like my voice on video. I don't like the angles on video. You know, I'm older. I'm almost 40. I got like this chin thing happening. I'm like, what the heck is that? But I had to get over it. I know that for me to accomplish my goals with this business, the Boss Babe business, the empowerment coaching, the book, you know, the interviews and being on video is gonna happen. Like, I'm confident in that. So I had to get over it. So I paid for a promo video the other day to force me, because, you know, you put more into things that you pay for. Right. So I'm like, I'm going to take this video seriously if I pay for the video. It's different than me looking at my phone and talking to myself. It's hard for me to take that seriously. Or not just stare at myself and look at all my flaws. Like, I burnt my forehead a couple weeks ago. And if I look at my phone camera when I'm trying to like do this TikTok thing, all I can see is this burn on my forehead. So then it's like, I don't want to do a TikTok today. I don't want to record video. I don't even want my son to call me on FaceTime. Like, can we just talk about but I had to get over that. And I think that's really one of the only things that I ever really make an excuse about. Now, I will argue something to justify my reasonings for somebody to like walk me past that. Like, I struggle with an autoimmune disease that I didn't know about for 5.5, almost 6 years that I thought I was dying every day. And I went to every doctor and I'm like, I should be living my best life. Instead, I just want to crawl in a hole. I struggle getting up and down the stairs. The pain in my joints is so bad. I'm throwing up every day for 5 years, like all these things. But I was determined because I knew that that wasn't me, like in my core, and that wasn't like who I was. And I knew I needed to fix the problem. So it might have been easy for me to make excuses then, like, I don't want to go out and do all the things that we've always done because I feel miserable. But I'm going to work on resolving this. Like, I'm going to figure out what the problem is so I can get past it and get better. So that, I mean, that to me, that's a little bit different. But if it's, I want to lose weight. Okay, well, are you drinking water? No. Why? Blah, blah, blah. Are you exercising? No. Why? But blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, when you really want to do it, you're not going to put the but behind it.
Right.
Like, okay, I need to drink water and I need to eat my vegetables and I need to work out or whatever. It's that's the difference.
Right. That's awesome. The what is it? I'm trying to think. I just blanked out. But so you just launched the book and you have
the book release is July 6th on my 40th birthday.
Oh, nice. So, but okay. I think I must have seen it differently, but it was the now I'm using but nonstop. Okay.
I released a journal a couple months ago.
Oh, okay, that's what it was. So is the journal tied to the book?
So the journal was practice on publishing.
Okay.
But there will be a journal that goes with the book. Mm-hmm. So the book is like 111 rules, right? Mm-hmm. And you can kind of apply them to whatever your personal struggle is. But if there's a rule like shut the butt up, mm-hmm. like the journal will have the rule, the book will be the book, mm-hmm. but the journal will have the rule corresponding and a prompt to help you work through that area, whatever it is. So, if it's one of the rules, and I'm giving you some insight that I have been trying not to put out there, but let's just say one of the rules is the critic doesn't count. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of people, and I struggle with this at a certain point in my life, that I put so much emphasis on people that would criticize me and like their opinions. Mm-hmm. Okay, their opinions don't matter. So people might think that there are people in my family that think that I'm holier than thou. No, it's I worked my ass off. I overcame the trauma that y'all raised me in. Mm-hmm. And I bust my ass to live this life. That's not holier than thou. That's just living a good life. Mm-hmm. There are people that, when you're just regular, they're like right there. But when you're winning, they just have something negative to say. Okay, mm-hmm. Well, if you spent that energy worrying about you would be a high multiple six-figure earner also. Mm-hmm. But you're so invested in talking about me and what I'm doing, that's energy that's preventing you from like living your best life.
Right.
So, there's just, and I think that, all the rules might not resonate with every person, mm-hmm. but I can almost guarantee that at least one rule will make a difference to somebody. At least every person can resonate with at least one of the rules that could change their lives.
Right.
I read a book recently, and to date, I say, because my book isn't released yet, it's probably the best book I ever read. I'm so hype about this book. Mm-hmm. And it's Glennon Doyle's Untamed. Mm-hmm. And I saw it. It was like a Sunday, and I was just feeling so all kinds of overwhelmed. And I had even told my husband, hey, I just literally booked a hotel for us in the Outer Banks. Like, we're leaving tomorrow, completely out of the blue. So I'm on TikTok and I'm like, okay, I got a couple minutes and then I need to like prepare for us to leave tomorrow. And right before I was getting ready to close TikTok, there was a video and there was this girl reading an excerpt out of this book. And I was like, oh my God, I need that book, like right now. So I go on my Apple Books and I buy the book and I'm telling him, like, but I'm not going to read it until we're on our way back. I bought it on my iPad, but I'm going to unplug. But when we're on our way back, I need to start reading this book. I'm really excited about it. So her book was, for one, it was confirmation to me that I definitely got to write this book that I'm writing. And two, like her format was kind of similar to the format of my book, which also just was like confirmation. But, you know, it was like a bunch of little lessons. I don't know how many. It's not like she numbered them or even, I mean, I think she like gave a caption to what that little lesson was going to be about. And if there was 70 lessons in her book, maybe 5 of them resonated with me, but those 5 were life-changing. Like one of them, so I was telling you about my autoimmune disease, and it was caused by a tick bite. So it's called alpha-gal, and it's completely changed my life. Like I have a severe mammal allergy. I mean, well, that's what alpha-gal is. It's a severe mammal allergy, but it's to everything from foods to byproducts to cross-contamination to fumes. Like we had show dogs that we had to get rid of. So just like all these things, but it puts you kind of like in a chronic inflammatory state. So I'm miserable like 90% of the time physically. Somehow I overcome it and I keep going. But in this one section, she was talking about Lyme disease. And I realized that when they had diagnosed me with the alpha-gal, that was the only tick-borne disease that they tested me for. So then I had to start doing research on Lyme disease, and realize that, you know, first of all, you're like almost guaranteed to have Lyme disease. And even if
from that tick bite?
From that same tick bite. Okay. So even if they do test you for it, majority of the time you get like false negatives. And that that Lyme disease can like shut down all of your body's systems over time. Untreated, I mean, it could all the way to cause death, but it can cause some pretty serious permanent damages to all the different systems in your body. But if I hadn't read that one section, that one page in her book, I would have never realized, hey, I really need to look into, like, is it Lyme disease too? And I need to treat that. And I could quickly get more normalcy back in my life. And there were other areas and lessons that were in her book. I mean, I can't relate to being married to a man, going through a divorce and marrying a woman. Like a couple of her lessons were about that, and I couldn't relate, but they were entertaining nonetheless. But her book just was a game changer for me. And I'm grateful for that book, and I tell everybody, like, you got to read the book because I can promise you'll get one thing out of it.
Right.
And it'll be worth it, and you'll love the whole book. But I feel like that's what my book is going to be. So I'm really excited. I can't wait. Nice. I've wanted to write this book for a decade or more. I think I've always wanted to write a book, but this specific book with these life lessons, you know, just, I can't wait. I can't wait for it to change somebody's life.
Nice. I like it. It's funny when you mentioned the rules, I was curious. I was like, is there a reason you decided on the rules, or is it like rules mixed in with part autobiography?
So the rules are, if I had, first of all, I'm like an 11-11. I see 11-11 every morning, every night, never intentionally. It just, somehow it happens. I was not going to write 1111 rules. Like, that wasn't realistic.
Mm.
So one day I just was like, okay, if I had to like dump the most important lessons, what would they be? And I'm like just writing them and writing them and writing them and writing them. And I think by divine intervention or the universe, or it ended up being 111.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that was like, okay, this is definitely meant to be. But they are things that really just make a difference.
Yeah.
You know, knowing that the critic doesn't count. I'm trying not to put them all out there.
Put them out there. Come
but
on.
no,
I'll slow roll this. I think I'll put this one out in say September. So by then people have like more incentive to go and like say, okay, like I need to know why the critic doesn't matter.
So
Or
just
give me three. Give me three.
give you three.
Yeah.
Okay. Shut the butt up.
Number one.
Like a boss.
Mm-hmm.
No one cares. The critic doesn't count.
Oh, get 4.
Yeah, that's all I'm gonna give you.
Hey, that works.
Smile. Go outside. Drink the water.
Do drink the water. Not the Kool-Aid, but the water.
Hey, that is one of the rules. But not the Kool-Aid.
I like that.
So, and they kind of go in a... So once I wrote all the rules, then I had to rewrite them on like index cards. And then I wanted to put them kind of in an order to take them through a process, but it's not a process. You know, a lot of the books, it's like, you got to do all of these things. Okay. And I was talking to my business coach. She was like, why don't you break it up into a series? And I'm like, because I know me. And if I broke this into a series, let's just say each book was only 10 rules. Yeah. Well, if I bought the first one and it only had 10 rules, and I could check them all off. Like I've already done all these things, then I'm not going to buy the next set. So for me, I'm going to give them all to you. I'm going to give you all the rules, and I'm going to scratch the surface on all of them. You know, do the thing and do it scared. Like, I'm going to scratch the surface on that. And then you have the opportunity to get a journal to go with it that's going to prompt you on digging deeper in that. And then if you want to go deeper in that, there will be a course on that rule and going deeper and overcoming that thing. If you want to do deeper and you want to talk about those things or all the things or any of the things, you can book me as your empowerment coach, and you can talk to me every day, twice a week, once a month, like at like your need level. So they'll have all these options to either skim the surface on things, or if they know it's something they really struggle with, go deeper and deeper and deeper. And all the resources, because people learn in different ways.
Right.
Like I'm a tangible physical learner. Like I need me a book. Yeah. And I need a workbook and I need a journal. Like that's how I learn. Right. But some people learn through video. You know, I got short attention span when it comes to this. My husband, he can watch 2 or 3 hours of YouTube on a topic. Me, I'll watch 5 TikToks and I got it. We learn different. Right. I also can read an entire book in like a couple hours. It might take him a couple weeks. Like, so, I mean, I read really fast. You know, I can read paragraphs backwards really fast. Oh, wow. So it's just, everybody learns different. So I figured give them all the tools so they can pick the tools that work best for them. And then we did create some product is already available, like merchandise is already available on the different rules. Trust the process, choose your heart. Hey, I'm giving you more. Because if you look at what people wear, especially when it's like graphic tees with quotes or things like that, it's more for themselves and a reminder to themselves than it is for anything else. Right. So if I bought a shirt that said trust the process and I'm wearing a shirt that says trust the process, it's because I need that affirmation, that daily reminder to trust the process.
Right.
If I'm having a day where I'm struggling to trust the process, chances are I'm going to wear the shirt that says trust the process. That's, that's how
sense.
minds work. So they'll have merchandise to go with the rules that they struggle with. So I'm just so excited.
I like it.
A dream come true or coming true.
It's funny. I guess I wanted to ask you, when I think of your book and you mentioned Untamed that inspired you to write it recently.
No, that didn't inspire me to write it. I was well through writing my book. I think it inspired me to keep going.
Got you. That's right.
It was like a confirmation because I was just 3 weeks ago.
Got you.
But it was definitely what is that word I'm looking for? It was confirmation.
Yeah.
That I was definitely doing the right thing and I needed to keep going.
Got you. So is with the book, is it part of Boss Babe, the brand, or is that a company of yours?
So Boss Babe is the company.
Yeah.
Shut the Butt Up is a registered trademark that belongs to Boss Babe T Minor.
Nice.
And under the Boss Babe T Minor umbrella there's the empowerment coaching, which is one-on-one empowerment coaching. Yeah. There's the merchandise that kind of corresponds with the rules. There's the empowerment journal that's already available on Amazon. There's the Shut the Butt Up, the book, and the corresponding prompt journal. And the courses that will be coming when I get past all of this. Already it's like launching these things, learning how to promote. I don't do social media. Like that's what I struggle with. I built the agency on word of mouth alone. So trying to learn how to build a business that relies on social media is very hard for me. Because I'm just like, I get on social media 90% of the time to clear my notifications because I'm obsessive compulsive and I can't deal with all the little red circles. So I have to open it to clear it. But unless I am really, really bored, I'm not like sitting there scrolling. Now TikTok's a little bit of a different story. But even TikTok, I kind of go through spurts. It's like, I'll really enjoy all the fresh content. And then for a while, it's everybody redoing that same content. So I'm like, all right, I can't listen to this sound one more time. I don't want to watch this dance one more time. Right. So then I go through like a hiatus long enough for there to be some new fresh trends on TikTok. And then I'll watch it again and I'll obsess over it. And I feel like I go through the same kind of rotation with it. But social media is just, I got to learn how to engage. Like even engaging is just not my thing. Yeah.
It's funny that you mentioned that because when I see your, I know I comment on your stories a lot because I just appreciate them, especially there are a lot of TikToks where it'll be somebody saying something encouraging, funny, or just something that kind of stands out. And I guess I've noticed this year, it seems like a lot more people are on TikTok. And I was like, I'm curious, but it seems to work well as a platform. And I was going to say, whenever you're posting those, whether it's like for a goof or just like something that encouraged you, I think that's working. So I give you kudos for that.
So the goal is that the TikToks from now on are me. I've been tasked by my business coach that I have to like. So starting Monday, I have 30 days until the book drops. So those 30 days, my biggest focus is social media. So you should be seeing like 3 Instagram posts a day and the stories and the reels. Most of those will come from my TikToks, even though there's a trend on TikTok right now, and it's like, when your friends or family find you on TikTok and the girls are like screaming like, that's for strangers on the internet. Like, the worst part of me sharing my own TikToks to Instagram is I'm sharing it to people that know me. And there's the video fear.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be completely uncomfortable.
I don't manifest that.
But I mean, I already am.
Right.
So starting on Monday, you'll see the stories will be more of me from TikTok. And we'll just see how it goes.
Yeah. I would trust that you'll do it well, because I mean, you have a creative way of doing it, because when you were unboxing like the plaque and different merchandise and things like that for Shut the Butt Up, I was like, oh wow, I wonder what's going on over there. So I'm sure you'll have
was one of my TikToks.
Yeah. I think you did well with that. And even if it's like even like you pushed back with your coach, letting her know, okay, no, I don't want to do a series, I want to do me. I'd say do more of that. Why try to do something you're uncomfortable with in an uncomfortable way? Like, if okay, I don't want to face the camera, just maybe have it off to the side, and it's only going to record for like 15 seconds. And something that I'm finding to be funny with social media, like, I got on TikTok a little bit last year, or I think 2020, end of 2019, just to kind of check it out. And the thing for me was that it seemed to be a lot to handle. So one thing that I did was just this year is just focus on strictly Instagram, just like posting there regularly. I might repost it to Facebook because it automatically does that, or like promote a podcast to LinkedIn or Twitter just to get a broader audience. But the thing that I found this week was that Reels seem to do very well. It's like 15 seconds and people just gravitate towards it, similar to TikToks, where it's like a short video. You can remix it if you want. And then for some reason, people just love watching Reels.
So I think there's a bunch of TikToks on that right now. But people love watching Reels are the people that would love watching TikToks but don't want to leave Instagram. It's Instagram trying to keep those people on Instagram and not lose them to TikTok.
Right.
So what you were just saying about, adding the Twitter and the LinkedIn, on the agency side of things, I mean, our marketing is like top notch. You would think that we paid an outside company to come up with all of the stuff that we post. We don't. We do it here.
Yeah.
But it's all done automatically. We don't touch any of that, which one, I think affects how you show up in the algorithm because you're not organically posting. Two, I've never done social media, right? So I don't engage, I don't like and comment and all the things that you're supposed to do on the agency stuff. And we are active because it's automated on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Alignable, and something else. And I'm like, we've never got any results. And I know that that's because we don't engage. One, we don't engage. And two, there's not very many actual pictures or videos of us as real people. Right. And whenever I do post pictures of us, people in the actual agency or videos, we do get so much more engagement.
Right.
But it's just not my focus. Like, it doesn't convert to customers. So I can't spend a lot of time doing that. However, the social media for the Boss Babe and Shut the Butt Up is where all the customers are going to come from. And I know that I haven't sold more journals on Amazon because I haven't promoted them.
Right.
I haven't sold very much merchandise for Shut the Butt Up because I haven't made a post about it. Haven't talked about it. I mean, I think that unboxing video was like the only thing I ever posted.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't know that I got a ton of shirts and face masks and coffee mugs and like all these things because I haven't posted about it.
Right.
I haven't even talked about my empowerment coaching. I do have 3 people that I coach, but they just happen to be my circle, not a stranger in California that really needs me. So I know that I have to get over my fear of social media. I got to learn the things. I got to do the things. And just like my rule says, I got to do it. Even if I'm scared, I got to do the thing. So
hey,
that's why,
you're on your way.
that's why I didn't put off this podcast, because I put it off forever and ever. I was like, yeah, sure, I'm down. And it just never gets on the calendar because I hate being on camera.
Hey, even though you hate it, I feel like that's even why I started to do it, because I'd never really been on camera until like I practiced speaking, doing Toastmasters for the first time when I started working, because I was like, even having done Toastmasters, like being out of practice and starting podcasting, like it took me a while to get comfortable again, even this year, because like I was going strong in 2019, start of 2020, then I just put everything to a screeching halt. And then trying to have a conversation with somebody for the first time in 2021, I was like struggling for air. I felt like I was like a fish out of water, just like maybe it's like, is it hot in here? Or it's like my chest feels funny.
Yeah.
But like despite that, I think as you continue to show up, like you're here for your second podcast already. Like look at you, like 2 podcasts, who would have thunk it? And just like yes, it's good to acknowledge that you're nervous, because I think sometimes I've caught myself in conversation with somebody like trying to save them, to be like, oh no, you're not, like don't manifest. It's like, well, feel what you're going to feel, and like you say, shut the butt up. Like don't use your feeling, like don't validate that limitation to just be like, well. But one thing I wanted to say about your book was that it reminds me of Green Lights from Matthew McConaughey. I don't know if you heard of it, but it's in a similar format where he's telling kind of like an autobiography story about like how he grew up, how he got into the business, and different things that he's come along. And Green Lights are like those, how would you say, like confirmations essentially, as he's gone through his life, to be like, okay, this happened, that happened, I decided to go this way. Hey, that's a green light. And I was like, huh, that's interesting. And the way he tells it, like you see him on the big screen, and like listening to his audiobook that he's reading himself, I was like, oh wow, this is cool. So I'm sure you're going to be reading yours, right?
So we are going to do an audiobook. I mean, that's going to take a little bit longer.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's like a special microphone that makes my voice sound better. But we'll figure it out.
Yeah, I trust you will. And the second book I thought of is actually 2 books by a psychologist I've been following for a while, Jordan Peterson. He's a Canadian professor, practicing psychologist. He wrote 12 Rules for Life, I think, back in 2018. And then this year, I think he put out another book, 12 More Rules for Life. And essentially, it's like just he paired it with, how would you say, extreme chaos, as people would say, like maybe the left brain, or like if they're tying it to politics, they might talk about being democratic. And then this one's talking about being extremely orderly. Like there's value in order, there's value in structure, but if you're too structured or too rigid at times, there's where you can go too far. It's like that, the yin and yang, where you're trying to keep your foot balanced or counterbalance in between like order and chaos. And I just found those 2 books fascinating, and I think yours should be up on that level. So excited for your book release.
I am too. I mean, it's definitely like a dream come true.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm enjoying the process of like putting it together. And, you know, it's so funny because I'll be brushing my teeth right? And then I'll run into the bedroom and grab my phone and I'll just start typing. And my husband's like, everything okay? Like, like he thinks that I'm texting somebody. I'm like, and I kind of ignore because like I'm in the zone and, you know, the thought about, you know, choose your hard came through and I'm like, I got to write this because writing each rule and the short story that goes with it, you know, I have to write it with like my genuine, authentic passion from what I've been through to overcome that life lesson, right? Or learn that life lesson. So it's not like I'm sitting down and I'm talking about Jack and Jill and up the hill and I'm writing the story. Like I gotta write it like it happened so that when people are reading Shut the Butt Up and they're reading that lesson, they're reading it with hopefully the passion that I wrote it in.
Right.
So I don't just sit down and like write. I write and then I got to compile it all and then I clean it up. But I write it in the moment when something happens and it reminds me like, this is why you don't drink the Kool-Aid. And I just write it. And I know that one's going to be amazing because I wrote it in the moment. I'm scared of like, if there's something that I haven't written in the moment and I have to like sit down and write it, it's going to have a whole different feel than the ones that I wrote with like the passion and in the moment when I was thinking about it.
Right.
So hopefully, and I have like, my deadline is quickly approaching. So hopefully that doesn't happen because you're going to hit me up on Instagram and be like, when you wrote rule number 35, you must have just had to like sit down and write that because I did not feel the same passion that I felt in all the other rules. So hopefully that doesn't happen.
Gotcha. So I guess, so you mentioned earlier or last time we talked about the insurance business. Something that I'm seeing recently with insurance is like, I never thought about it in this way, but it seems like insurance, and I know this is probably taking like a hard left, but I was just curious of how the two kind of tied together. And I know they tie together in the sense that you mentioned you can make six figures working in insurance, but you kind of have to be the right person to do that. And go ahead.
So there's a lot of different types of insurance.
Right.
There's P&C insurance. You don't really have to have a why behind it, right? Because everybody needs or has to have auto insurance and homeowners insurance. Like you can't not have it. Well, I mean, I guess you can, but in Virginia, there's legal ramifications of not having auto insurance, right?
Right.
So I think P&C insurance is different. Health insurance is different. Like companies that have a certain number of employees have to offer major medical insurance to their staff. The carriers of health insurance have a monopoly, right? So there's these insurance carriers and all these brokers. But if you talk to broker A, broker B, or broker C, they're all quoting you the same carriers for the same price. So then it's like, who do I like better? Not as hard of a business. But when you talk about the insurance that we do, supplemental health and life, there are a gazillion carriers, a gazillion different products, a gazillion agents all doing the same thing. So in order to overcome how hard it is in this business, it is easiest to come with passion. They are, you know, when I lived in Florida, I ran a solar business, and solar is a luxury item. Like solar pool heating was a luxury item. They didn't have to have it. Like they had to have a pool pump if they had a pool, right? So people selling pool pumps could sell pool pumps all the time. But you had to be a certain type of special to be really good at selling solar pool heating. And I was phenomenal. And at the time, I was like the first and only woman selling solar pool heating. And I was like breaking records and killing the game.
Nice.
So supplemental health, things like accident, cancer, critical care, life insurance, retirement planning, those are things people have to have. Now they should, everybody should, because I could leave here. God, I am not claiming this at all, but I could leave here. And from here to the mile to my house, I could be in an accident that could destroy my life. Like what happened to me in 2012. It's how I got in this business. I had government employee insurance. I thought I was good. I didn't need supplemental benefits, and destroyed credit, a divorce, and $38,000 in out-of-pocket expenses later. I'm like, I should have had an accident policy, right?
Right.
So when I talk to people, I talk with that passion and with that story. Like, I was you. I didn't think I needed an accident policy. I got health insurance, or I got a savings account.
Yeah.
Okay, until something happened. Same thing with cancer or heart attacks or death or COVID-19. Like, we've lost family members. So all those stories that you can share that are real and authentic and genuine are the difference between somebody that I recruited into this business because they saw that I drive a Jaguar and I have a $400,000 house and I custom built my office and I have all these things. They're like, ooh, I want to do what you do because I want to make what you make.
Right.
And either one, they're not going to hustle like I do, so they don't make it. Or two, they don't believe in it because they don't have a why behind it. So it's just a hard business.
Right.
Now I can proudly say that in 7 years of recruiting and training people, I had the highest retention rate in the market. And my people were much more successful as rookie agents than the industry standard or anybody else's recruits. But it was like when they had to stand on their own, that's when they fell out of the business. And I had a conversation with one of my latest recruits that didn't make it. And she was like, I don't know if anybody's ever told you this, but you're the reason I stuck around as long as I did. Your motivation, your inspiration, your belief in me, on whatever I'm struggling with, I can talk to you about it and you can uplift me. That's why I stayed around. And it kind of dawned on me. So I'm thinking about that. And I'm thinking about, all of these friends of mine. Remember when I said, like, I unintentionally empower these people to like leave their jobs and go fulfill their dreams full time? It wasn't on purpose. I think it was just my purpose. Like, if that makes sense.
That does.
So when I was interviewed the other day, the guy asked me, like, so tell me about, what makes you different than other coaches? And I was like, well, I was coaching before it was trendy and I never did it on purpose. I think it was just my purpose. And right now everybody's a coach, right? Because it's trendy. But you got to look at your coach. And if I'm a business coach, right, what people aren't doing is, okay, where's the proof that business coach is successful?
Right. How many businesses have they run?
Like, how many businesses have they run?
Right.
What's their actual revenue and their income? Like, the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah.
So right now there's all these trendy coaches on TikTok, but the statistics say like less than 8% of women entrepreneurs ever break 6 figures. And I'm like, yeeks, 8%.
Yeah.
Now, if we think about that number, and we think about the astronomical amount of coaches out there, business coaches, media marketing coach, like all of them.
Yeah.
You think, how many of them have successfully broke 6 figures? And I don't really think that you're credible as a coach if you've never made remotely close to what I make. What value? It's the law of the lid, right? Like, what value can you bring?
I love that. I love that reference.
For me, it's, my family was like, it was a hard knock life. And I've made multiple six figures year after year after year after year. Like I literally can shut the agency down, forget about Boss Babe, forget about the book, forget about it all, and retire.
Mm,
And I have a six figure income that's self sustaining.
right. That's what
How many
um
people can do that?
right. And I think that's the thing, back to like you were talking about the why, and more so for me it's become crystal clear this year in actually studying. I'm sure you're familiar with like the DISC assessment, or you might have heard of it. I guess
Well, we
recent,
both went through it with ET.
yeah.
I
And
went through it with Aflac also, but
oh, nice. So it's like, I guess I'm curious to get your take about like what that was like going through it, because I went through that, and then I think either I had too much going on or just talking with other people. It's like the outcomes didn't really match what the expectations I had. But in going through a similar training with someone else this year, it's like it was a fuller picture, because it wasn't just the disc. It's like you have disc, you have values and attributes. The other two, they're a more complete version put together, where when you're talking about why, it's like I would always hear like, you got to have a why, you got to have a why. And for some people it's like it's their family, it's like proving other people wrong. It's different things, but it helps to have like, when I think it was the values test. When you look at it, it gives you, I think, 7 or 9 categories to quantify and say like, these are things that motivate people. Some people are motivated by aesthetics, like they like things to look nice, they like things to function properly. Somebody that might be like, oh yeah, that's a dope thing. Me, I would be like, I just need a shirt to wear. I don't care what it looks like. It doesn't need to be like um trendy or whatnot. I just need something to look good. Other people might be motivated by economics, and it's not just, oh, they're all about the money, but if you're high economic, you want a return on your investment. You're gonna put money into something to be like, hey, I need this to pay back. Other people might be like political, where they want everybody to win and not just like the grimy whatnot. But having those qualifiers, or just having those things explained and being trained on it, I was like, okay, that makes more sense as to how DISC works, because DISC tells you your tendencies of behavior. They're not just, oh, you're this and that's all you will ever be. It's like, no, you took a test that gave you some results in a moment. Like, that's how you were feeling during that time. This isn't just going to say from birth to death, you were this, you're always going to be this, and that's all you're going to be. I feel like that's part of the message I got before, and I was like, something's missing here. And then,
so
yeah, go ahead.
it's funny because I was working on content for next week.
Hmm.
And when you brought that up, that was kind of one of the things. I think that the reason maybe the DISC assessments or the bird assessments, like all those different things,
Yeah,
they put you in a box, just
yeah,
like you said, for where you are and what you're feeling at that exact moment.
right.
And what I believe is there are two types of people.
Hmm.
There are the people that will be the same person, living the same life, doing the same thing, getting the same results forever and ever and ever.
Hmm.
And I think there are people that are always self-aware
Hmm.
and always looking to improve in some way, shape, or form. I'm always looking to learn. I'm always looking to grow. I'm always looking to change and transform. And
Right.
where can I improve, and what can I do better? Where else can I make a difference?
Hmm.
So all those things, right?
Yeah.
And when I was thinking about the content, my thought was, I want to ask, like, do the people that aren't, like, I'm always, like, my brain is always thinking of what I could do next,
Hmm.
right? It's always. And then I wonder, do the other people, are their brains just quiet? Like, I really want to know,
Right,
are their brains just quiet?
right. And
Like, is there no noise? And is it like, wake up, have coffee, and all they think about is like, what is actually next?
mhm.
Like, open my eyes, go to the bathroom, like brush my teeth, make the coffee, walk the dog, and is that the extent of their thoughts?
Yeah.
So that maybe that's why it never changes, because they're not thinking past that next thing.
Mhm.
So every day and every aspect is the same, because it's like, and maybe even thinking about like my parents who I haven't talked to in like 2.5 years,
Mhm.
like, do they not think that they can be better or do better, because all they think is, wake up, like get high or drink or work or fight? Like, do they plan, like, is it subconsciously like,
Mhm.
I'm gonna get drunk next because that's what I did yesterday?
Yeah.
And does their brain not like actively thinking, I don't have to take this drink, I don't have to get drunk today? Or are they just so stuck in that muted brain
Yeah.
that they can't level up?
I'd say your guess is as good as mine, but if I had to make an educated guess, I would say it's all it's all a matter of what we're exposed to, because like as much as the world around us changes, like we change obviously as we grow up. Like you're not 1 year old, like you learn how to crawl, you learn how to walk, talk, like learn how different things are. Like you move to one place, things are like this, you move to another place, things are like that. And I see a lot of people, well, not a lot, but some people that I've seen, it's back to what you were saying with like the motivators, and also the thing that goes past that. It's like they're, when you kind of, at least with the training that I went through and how they broke it down, it's like there's three ways that people process information: internally and externally. So it's like they think about this first, then that, then that. And when you combine those things based on where they're at, it could just be, hey, okay, I'm going to do A, B, C, or it's just, I'm going to do this. But I don't know. That's the short answer. I don't know. But the best way, like you're doing with your coaching and what you're doing through your book and what you did with the journal, it's allowing people to have a conversation or to interact in a way to say, ask these questions, or look at, if you really want to know, or if you're exposed to the fact that, hey, you can do something different from what you're currently doing, then I think that makes, I wouldn't say all the difference, but it like starts to kind of open you up to like, oh, okay, like there's a life outside of what I'm used to or what I've seen, that I can say, okay, why is it that I'm risk adverse? Is it because every time there's a risk, like there's a fight, I always feel like I'm in danger of my life. So then if I'm always in danger for my life, maybe I'll just avoid risk at all costs. Maybe if um I used to think a certain way and you just got beat or disciplined in that manner every time you thought outside the box, it's like, okay, no, I'm just gonna do everything, wake up, eat, do this, do that. So then it's like, uh how do they quantify? I think they call it, yeah, your paradigms. Like the way that you think, it reinforces your beliefs, which reinforce the actions you take, which reinforce the results you get. And if you keep getting one result, you're like, oh, okay, like what I think must be true. So then I'm gonna
But
keep
that's
doing
when you
this.
got to shut the butt up.
Right. But hey, if they haven't read Shut the Butt Up, they don't know. So they're just like, oh, I would do it, but I try again, but well, it's like they
We're
need they
uh,
need the book. They need to shut the butt up.
we're canceling butt. Like, I can't with the butt anymore.
It's funny. I was talking to my coach, and she was telling me that the word "just" almost needs to be buried and put just be buried in the backyard and forgotten about, because it what one thing that's funny, I texted my little brother the other day, and I sent him a YouTube video of somebody that I watch from time to time. He does like mixed martial arts commentary, and a lot of times you could almost say he's almost become like a professional troll. He was a fighter. He retired from fighting, and he just does this thing where he gets in front of a camera, talks about what the new thing is. And I sent him the video in the thought of maybe I didn't finish the text as I was sending it, because I'm trying to do better about sending something with context and saying, hey, this is an example of proper presentation. Whether you know what you're talking about or not, if you present it well enough, people will respond. Either they'll be upset with you, which drives up engagement on YouTube or on social media, but YouTube, because that's mostly what he uses. And people will comment because they have the ability to comment. It's like, oh, this guy's such an idiot. Oh, like this, that, like a meme gets started. But it's like, he knows what he's doing, whether it's a game or whether it's that. But it's like how he presents it, how he chooses his words. And one thing that he said was so funny. He was explaining what they call like kayfabe, what you see like in pro wrestling, where there's a storyline going on and everybody's in on it. They know the outcome, but it's like, hey, somebody's got to be the bad guy, somebody's got to be the good guy, and they just play that role back and forth. And I was sending it to him just to be like, hey, like watch this and see if you glean any information from it. The same way that you might watch a comedian and just be like, hey, like when I watched Dave Chappelle, his delivery, like how he's telling the story, it's like, okay, there's a way that he's doing it that's natural to him, but like maybe you can pull a piece of it and put it in your tool belt and like refine what it is that you do. I feel like I went off on a tangent there.
Yeah. It's okay. So you were telling your little brother to take information from it?
Yeah, I mean, I sent him the video just to be like, okay, I know he's not an English major, but he was good. He writes well and he communicates well. So he was trying to do something with YouTube. And I was like, okay, well, if you're going to do podcasting or YouTube or anything, it's easy to say you're going to do it. Or even if you want to be an engineer, it's easy to say, hey, I want to do this thing, but go into it with the aim of doing it regularly. If it's once a week, if it's once a month, just show up when you say you're going to show up. But find a way to connect with people to where they'll interact with you. You seem like you're laughing over there. But it's like, for some reason, something stood out to me, and I think that's why I'm watching it, to be like, okay, when I'm interacting even with you, like I've got to think of how to be more engaging, because it's like if I just drone on and just like womp 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 womp, it's like, okay, like you lost me. I shut off the thing 5 minutes ago. Like I'm not watching this. I'm never coming back. Oh, you're doing a podcast again? Yeah, good. Tell it to somebody who cares. But it's like, as I'm watching other people, as I'm watching you, I'm learning, and I'm learning to appreciate. For instance, it wasn't this guy, but it was somebody else saying like he's a I guess I'll just use names so it'll make it tangible, just in case you know the people. But Jocko Willink, he's a retired Navy SEAL. I don't know if it's Marines or SEALs. They say they never retire, but he was a Navy SEAL, and he majored in English in college, and he utilized his English major to better communicate, to have his guys recognized, and to move up in the ranks himself, because regardless of what you do, communication is always key. And that, I think that's what I was trying to share with my little brother, but I completely forget how in the world that was supposed to tie back into our conversation. Oh my gosh. We were talking about the disc. We were talking about we were talking about coaching. Then I brought up the disc, and then I said, okay, also learning about I think they call it advanced insights. It uses the disc, the values, and the attributes, which focus on what motivates people and also how people process information. Because it's like, if you know how you process information, then you have a clearer understanding as to what may work and what may not work. And that way you don't keep bumping your head up against the wall. So like for me, if I know I can't manage 7 social media accounts, I'm only going to try to manage one. And then if it's still not working and I see somebody like Tammy that's just like putting up all these great stories, even though she says she doesn't know what's going on, I'm going to be like, hey, how are you posting all these stories? Where are they coming from? Okay, TikTok, let me see. Do I need to get a TikTok account? This, that, and the other. I think that
Hey,
type
you need
of...
to get a TikTok account so you can go like, comment, and share on all my posts.
Okay, you got it.
Yeah, I think that you definitely, what I've learned from my research on how to capitalize on social media is not trying to be, I think I started this earlier, but not trying to be on all the platforms. So my focus for Boss Babe and Shut the Butt Up, the coaching, the merchandise, and everything is I'm concentrated on Instagram, which I do automatically post to Facebook. But my focus is Instagram and TikTok. I think that's where I can drive the most impact to people with the content that I post.
Right.
I think that'll be how to convert the right people and reach the right people that need the coaching, the book, the merchandise, the journals, the courses, you know, all the things.
Gotcha.
So instead of trying to figure out how to manage all of the platforms, those are the platforms I'm going to focus on.
That's smart.
We'll see what these 30 days do. I made a whole schedule and a content plan. Like I've been brainstorming. So my plan is to prepare the week before for the next week's content. So that way I'm not doing it too far in advance and overwhelming myself, but also you never know when trends are going to change.
True.
So I figure do a week, the week before will be the easiest way for me to manage, but stay consistent.
Nice.
So wish me luck. Starts off my day.
Best of luck. It's funny. Oh, I think I did think of the question I was trying to ask, but I misworded it earlier. So in doing Boss Babe with Shut the Butt Up, putting it on and posting it on social media, is the goal to get people into your coaching program, or is it also to get them properly insured?
So GPA and the insurance is completely separate.
Gotcha.
That business hasn't changed. This really is for me to focus on helping people live their best lives. Gotcha. So not one and the same. I'm not trying to like convert Boss Babe audience to GPA clients. Like they're not one and the same. Okay. Now, like I told you about the Empowered Women's group that I started, and it's local women business owners. Now, some of them just have naturally wanted to add some insurance they didn't know about, just because now every time they come to my office once a month for these meetings, they're seeing all the insurance stuff. Right. And they're thinking about life insurance or disability policies, you know, policies for themselves, policies for their employees. But that's not the conversation at all. Now, I do use my insurance business as an example of, you know, how anyone can do anything. You know, when I was 17 and pregnant, people thought my life was over and I'd never be anything. And, you know, I put myself through college. I've run multiple successful businesses. I've survived abusive marriages. Like, you know, I've been through a lot and I got quite a story, and, you know, it's sad to say or empowering to say, depending on your perception, that you name it, I've been there, done that. Like, you know, what makes me an expert is the fact that there's pretty much probably nothing that you could tell me that you're struggling with that
Mhm.
I haven't struggled with and overcome.
Mhm.
This morning I was getting dressed. This is like um, the most random story, but
Hey, I just went on a
but
random tangent, so
but this
you
but this
have
is
at it.
this is how it's relatable.
Mhm.
This morning I was getting dressed,
Mhm.
and I picked out a pair of jeans, and I'm like, Tammy, you're always wearing the same jeans. And I immediately had a flashback to probably sixth or seventh grade. Now, I grew up in a small town. Everybody knew everybody.
Mhm.
We all like grew all the way up. But people knew, we didn't have a lot of money. I got 7 brothers and sisters. Everybody kind of knew my dad was the crazy, like, alcoholic, drunk, like, everybody just knew. Well,
Mhm.
anyways, I remember this time that I got on the school bus and this girl like was bullying me about my jeans. And she was like, you always wear like the same couple pair of jeans or something like that. Like, so it was like this whole like bully Tammy session because she always wears these same couple pairs of jeans. Now, why it stuck with me, I'm not really sure. But
Mhm.
what dawned on me this morning was, first of all, girl, I make in like a day, which you probably make now in a month, first of all.
Mhm.
Second of all, I got jeans and shoes that cost more than probably your biweekly paycheck. But the moral of the story is, even though I have all these jeans, like my jeans section is like this big,
Mhm.
I got jeans in there, still got tags on it. I still have a tendency to wear the same couple pair of jeans because I just love the way they fit. Or like I'm just drawn to them.
Yeah.
But like in your face, I don't really care. Stop bullying people.
Mhm.
And I don't care if back then I only had one pair of jeans. If those were my favorite jeans, I wear them bitches every day. And I'm going to do that now.
Yeah.
And I can have all the jeans. And how do you know that I don't own 10 pair of the same jeans?
Right.
Anyway, it just kind of lit me up this morning. I was like, I put so much, that one bullying episode, like it lived in my head for a really long time.
Mhm.
And it's so funny how like kids bully kids for like what their parents have.
Yeah.
And then they grow up to be adults. And you're like, so what are you doing with your life? Hmm. Who you gonna bully now?
Yeah. Trust me, they find them. I guess the real life bullies, they always try to find a poor sucker.
But it's all the bullies that I know from when I was in school,
Mhm.
their lives ain't so cute.
No.
I
There's
mean, they really aren't.
no.
They're not so cute.
It's funny. I keep thinking in the back of my mind, oh, it's like, what am I gonna title this one? What am I gonna title this episode? And I was like, oh, it makes sense. It's right there on your shirt, Boss Babe. And it's like that story just kind of like, whenever I think about it, I'm like, that's Tammy, Boss Babe. It's like it makes sense. They're synonymous, one and the same. But then I was like, hey, sometimes you gotta flex on them. Just be like, what?
But I'm not even that flexing type.
No.
Like I know where I came from,
Yeah.
and I'm like proud of my story and I'm proud of my struggle, and I always kind of have been. When I bought my first car, it was like a $500 um, Chevy Malibu. It was two-tone, brown on brown. I mean, it was the ugliest boat. Oh my God, it was so atrocious.
Yeah.
But what was different between me and everybody else was I had my own car.
Yeah.
Y'all were asking to ride with me. And I'm proud of that. Like I had cousins who were given brand new cars that they both totaled
Yeah.
because there was no value behind it. I was having a staff meeting a couple weeks ago, and I was a little frustrated. I was like having an annoyed day
Hmm.
at the lack of hunger in people. and I kind of went around the room, and I was like, Allie, you have a personal trainer, right? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, and you pay your personal trainer every week? She's like, yeah. How long have you been going to this personal trainer? She's like, about a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, but you know what the personal trainer is going to have you do every time you show up, right? And she's like, never really thought about that, but yeah. So essentially, you don't need the personal trainer. Like, you can go do it yourself. Yeah. But you're paying that personal trainer, so you know that that's the accountability aspect. You're paying for it, so you're going to get your money's worth. I said, the reason I'm frustrated with y'all is I'm giving this to y'all for free. I'm mentoring you for free. I'm telling you how to be successful. I'm giving you proven processes on how, in my first 6 weeks in the business, I made $40,000. This is how I do it, or how I did it. Why aren't you doing that? My first 12 months, I already exceeded 6 figures. I've multiplied that every year that I've been in the business.
Right.
If you have the best of the best as your mentor for free, the only reason you're not putting it into place is because you didn't invest in it. Yeah. So why am I doing this for y'all for free?
Flex on them.
But I think that really is the difference.
Mm-hmm.
I think it really is. And I don't know where I was at when I started saying that, or what point I was trying to
No,
make.
you were talking about like the similar with the story being, I know we talked about the accountability piece, talking with the lady paying her trainer, and you're here giving them the information for free, but you're asking about before that.
Right. So no, I guess that's what it is. It literally is lack of accountability when there's no investment.
Right. And I think that's what we learned going through the training, was that my struggle was that, well, what we were taught during the training was that in turning around and being able to facilitate training or eventually coaching for some, it's that you have to put a price tag on saying, giving someone an assessment to say, hey, here's some information that might make the difference for you. And that's where I also got lost in the tangent. But to tie the two things, to say what you were saying, there has to be some kind of equity. There has to be some kind of payment to be accountable, to say, hey, if you're taking this, I need you to pay enough, whether it's $100, whether it's $1,000. You need to value this information if you say this is what you want, versus I just show up, do this thing for free to better my skills, and you don't want to show up because you don't have the time, it's not important to you, you don't value it for whatever reason. But again, I think what we were saying earlier is that, or what I wanted to say is that disc, or the birds, or the shapes, or whatever form people have turned into animals or whatnot, it's the most used assessment, and it's also the most misused or the most mistaught, because the mistakes a lot of people do is take information that's only a snapshot of what's given, and they try to blanket that as somebody's whole life. And that's where people get frustrated, where you have people that are like, if you're talking plainly disc, people on the left hand side, I'd say the D's and the I's, they're the extroverts. So a lot of times they're excited about their results, because in the society we live in, usually the extroverts get celebrated, the actors, the star players, the this, the that, those people get celebrated. But usually the introverts are always criticized their whole life. So it's like, if you're telling somebody, hey, you're slow, you're always nagging, you're always cautious, you're always this, it's like, okay, if you don't define the words, if you don't explain what's good about it, and if you're trying to change somebody from being a turtle to being a gorilla, or if you're trying to get somebody to fly when they should be swimming, it's like, that's not going to work for that person, and that's very upsetting to kind of square the two things, if that makes sense. I hope that tied everything back together in a way. It's like you have to be accountable to get the results that you want, and then also you have to be given the right information in the right context in order to get from point A to point B.
And you don't need the DISC assessment for that. You need to be self-aware for
Right,
that.
right. And I guess what it was supposed to teach you is a sense of self-awareness, but it's like, I don't know.
But that self-awareness to me,
Yeah,
that's putting somebody in a box
right,
where it's very fleeting and very temporary for most people.
right.
That's very temporary and very fleeting.
Yeah.
Whereas just being self-aware, like aware of where you are and where you want to go and
Right.
what areas. Like the reason I think that these rules are so valuable is because I know that at different phases in my life, I've struggled with different things.
Right.
And if you truly are self-aware and you truly want to be your greatest self and live to your maximum potential, then you never stop growing and you never stop elevating. But that means sometimes that you're going to uncover a new area that you have to grow from because you're growing, right?
Right.
You won't people that don't have critics don't know that the critic doesn't count. It's not until they start elevating that they start having critics. Right. So then that's a new level they have to overcome. When sometimes you gotta like cut out the unnecessary, and that's the unnecessary things and the unnecessary people. And that's hard. Yeah. But when you're not trying to grow, you don't really realize the toxicity or the unnecessary energy of the people around you, right? Because you're just coasting and you're just like right here. Right. So to me, not to hype up my own book, but the best part of the book is at different levels of somebody's growth, they're gonna hit one of these lessons and they're gonna have to learn it. And to be able to share with each of the lessons a relatable story that will make it make sense. Like, shut the butt up didn't make sense until you read, until I explained what shut the butt up meant. Right. Or the critic doesn't count may not make sense until it's explained or there's a picture painted for what that looks like. So I'm just excited because I know it's going to change lives. And I know that people are going to level up as a result of it because it might increase awareness where they don't realize they're not aware.
Well said. Very well said. Oh, before you go, how would you like people
I was about to say I didn't know how long you were going to be, but
no.
I'm going to need a bathroom break in a minute. I'm
right. No, we're wrapping up, but I was going to say before you go, I don't know if I asked you this last time, but where can people find you? And where will they be able to get all this, like the book, the course, and all that? Do you just have the one website, or do you want them to just go through the social media?
So Instagram, soon the store will be live on Instagram. Okay. Right now it's live on the Boss Babe T.Minor Facebook page. They can find me at Boss Babe .t.minor on Instagram, on TikTok. The website right now, if you go to it, it says site coming soon, but they can subscribe to our mailing list so that as soon as that starts, they can stay up to date on all the newest releases on products, on the book, on the prompt journals, the courses that are coming. So that will go live soon. But yeah, Instagram, TikTok, at bossbabe.t.minor.
Awesome. And last question, what is something you gained from 2020?
The time to reflect, the downtime, the time for me to consider that I wasn't living my full purpose all the time, and that maybe I had done a disservice to all of the people that I was really trying to recruit and sell them the dream of this one specific industry, this one specific business, and I try to put them in that box, and they saw the reality of the dream, but it wasn't their walk, it wasn't their purpose. So the time for me to stop beating myself up when people didn't win in that industry, and realize that my true gift is just to empower them and sell them on the dream of their own reality, their own purpose, and their own passion. So 2020 was amazing for me because it took me from 100 miles an hour to 0. And I really had that time to like be nice to myself and really reflect on what fills my heart. And what fills my heart is the people that I can look at now that are so successful in their businesses, that I unintentionally directed them to fulfill their purpose, leave their 9-to-5s, and run their businesses full time. I mean, I didn't have time to reflect on those things pre-COVID. So I'm hugely grateful. Unfortunately, we have lost family members due to COVID, but in all reality, that time to slow down was huge for me.
Awesome. Thanks, Tammy.
Thank you.
Have a great Saturday.
You too.
This is the It's My Time podcast with Tchoua.